Welcome everybody, Souldin of the Grin Brothers here, and it's time for another episode of Tea Time. Now, today's tea I have with me is... well, there's a bit of a story behind it, as to also why I have no idea what tea it is. Well, for my birthday, my oldest brother, who has been on the show as Kiris, always pronounced it as Kyrus before, but apparently it's pronounced Kiris, he got me a tea set, you know, some teacups and teapot and all that. And it also came with a box of tea bags. 26 bags of our organic white tea from Clipper, natural, fair and delicious. Of course, white tea is more of a type of tea and not a specific tea. Yet, you know, it's sort of like how English breakfast is a black tea. But this is just organic white tea. There's nothing else said about it. So today I have with me Clipper's organic white tea with milk as well, because I'm really unsure about this one. This is going to be interesting. Anyway, today's tea time has been formed primarily because there's a big break in between Cameo Elements of Power, main sort of series of Grin Brothers videos, and the next series of mainline Grin Brothers videos. And I figured I should make some tea times to fill in the gap, because that's part of the reason I've got tea time set up in this new format of Grin Brothers videos and uploads and all that. And I've had a few topics dancing off the top of my head and decided, well, tonight feels like a good night to start recording some. Okay? And so then, for today's topic, I think the title... Actually, perhaps I should lead into that a bit. Or not. I'm unsure. Maybe I should have thought this through a little bit more. Anyway, today's topic will be focusing on the matter of GameCube games deserving of HD remastering. I'll probably call it GameCube games deserving of HD. Or, if I can think of one, an even shorter title. If I thought of one, that title will have appeared now, but if not, it'll be GameCube games deserving of HD. I've been milling over this title for a long while, and I just can't think of anything else at the moment. I just keep thinking, that's a bit long, isn't it? But, oh well, I'll figure it out when it comes to it. In any case, The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess HD came out on the 4th, the 3rd of 2016 in North America and Europe. It came out the 5th, the 3rd of 2016 in Australia, and the 10th, the 3rd of 2016 in Japan. That was originally when I was going to make and upload this kind of tea time, but I kind of just forgot about it, really. That's me being completely honest. I kind of forgot about it. But in any case, The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess HD is what brought this topic to mind, because I felt The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess was a very odd choice for a HD remaster. And this is primarily because you can play it on the Wii U via backwards compatibility with the Wii. Now, with The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, when it got a HD remaster, that made a lot of sense because you couldn't play The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker on the Wii U. It can't play GameCube games and it doesn't have a GameCube Virtual Console. And it just didn't really make much sense with Twilight Princess. It had already been on the GameCube and the Wii, and it sold very well, and it was technically playable via backwards compatibility. So I thought, what would be some games more deserving of a HD remaster? Or even just alongside Twilight Princess's games that would be good to have HD remasters? Specifically talking about GameCube games that should be remastered for Wii U. And I ended up making a list. I made several lists. I even tried to make a top 12 list. But when I looked back onto my top 12, I realised that quite a few of them actually had like sequels on the Wii, and I thought would kind of be worked better as like combination packs, like 2-in-1 sort of games, sort of HD remasters, rather than standalone HD remasters. So I ended up eventually narrowing it down to like 9, and then I narrowed it down to 6. I'll include the other bunch of games, other 3 closest games in honourable mentions at some point. But here are my top 6 GameCube games deserving of HD remasters. Again, titled as something like GameCube games deserving of HD. Not something shorter, sweeter. Starting off with number 6, Curren Squash. Now, a lot of you may not have even heard of this game, particularly if you're from America, because not a single entry in this Nintendo series has ever actually come out in America. The first game, Curren, came out in Japan and Europe for the Game Boy Advance. Those of you who have played Super Smash Bros. Brawl will be familiar with Curren via the helicopter, I believe it's called. What, helipopter or something like that. You know, in Super Smash Bros. Brawl, there's an assist trophy, which is like this blue rectangle thing with a slight sort of circular thing in the middle. That's Curren. Curren is a small blue bird who pilots that strange flying contraption. And the objective of the game is to steer your oddly shaped vehicle through stages without touching the walls and obstacles. For some reason, his flying vehicle is the most unwieldy flying vehicle ever. And so the whole point of the game is to try and use it despite how badly designed it is, all things considered. But it got two sequels, but neither of those sequels came out outside of Japan. They are both Japan exclusives. But one of these games was for the Game Boy Advance, and the other one, the third game, Curren Squash, was for the GameCube. It apparently added lots of things like power-ups, like have sort of fire spin and a tornado power-up, so a lot of sort of interesting ideas they did with it. But I think this would be a good game to make on the Wii U gamepad. Make on the Wii U as a HD remaster. For starters, you could release the game overseas. As far as I'm aware, Curren Squash doesn't have much in the way of talking or dialogue. There's some, but there's not so much that it would take a long time to sort of translate it. It would give people who it'd be practically a new game for people outside of Japan. No one had really played it outside of Japan unless you imported a copy, and it seems like a fun game. There's even the possibility of using the Wii U gamepad's gyroscope features to add that as a control method for Curren and Squash. That might actually make it even harder, but heck, that's a nice bit of challenge. They could even add in touch control methods even. I'm not sure precisely how these would work, but I think, you know, a game like Curren, where it's a series where the whole manner of playing through the game is controlling your character for a stage, I kind of feel being able to add different control schemes like gyroscope and the Wii U gamepad's touch feature are very beneficial for making it interesting. And so this is the sixth game I'd like to see a HD remaster of for the Wii U, or heck, even for any future Nintendo device. Of course, as the Wii U is the system that's currently out, that's where all my focus is at the moment for Nintendo mainline systems. Yep, I'm not falling for any rumours at the moment, just waiting on official confirmation for any of that future console stuff. Then, game number 5. Chib-Robo Plug-Into Adventure. Now, recently we had a Chib-Robo game come out. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. Chib-Robo Whiplash, I believe. I was actually somewhat interested in the game. It was being developed, I believe, by the people who made Dylan's Rolling Western, and I love that game. But Chibi Whiplash was coming across as like from the producer's standpoint and the creator of Chib-Robo, as if it was going to be the last Chib-Robo game, as this was his last chance to shine, which seems very bizarre that they'd choose his last chance to shine and be successful as a game that doesn't have much in common with Chib-Robo's original outings. To be fair, through Chib-Robo's, I guess you could say, 4 to 6, maybe 7 games, though, you know, several of them are, well, one of them's a Wii Play Control port, which we never got outside of Japan. Chib-Robo hasn't had much in the way of games similar to his playstyle. He's had 2 games which were of the original playstyle, that being the original game itself, and I guess you could say a third if you count its Wii version, and it had a DS game that never came out of Japan. I believe there was a gardening game on the DS which does play somewhat like Chib-Robo and did come out worldwide, but it wasn't quite as, you know, akin to the GameCube original. And the other games, such as the 3DS Chib-Robo game and the 3DS eShop Chib-Robo game, the Photo Finder, and the Chib-Robo Whiplash, don't play akin to the original Chib-Robo games. And Chib-Robo's original fans, and those who are mostly supportive of him, are those who fell in love with his unique and original first entry. And so it seems odd that so much risk would be taken on Chib-Robo at whose continued existence via a game like Whiplash, which is such a big departure from his regular outings as a 2D platformer instead of a 3D collectathon chore cleaning game. It's very weird to describe Chibi-Robo Plug into Adventure, but rather than its own unique game, which, well, rather than its own unique style of game, I kind of feel that it'd be more beneficial to try and see if Chibi-Robo can continue to prosper by releasing a HD remaster of its original GameCube game. After all, it came around 2005, I believe, and a lot of people never played it. As far as I'm aware, it didn't get much promotion outside of Nintendo magazines I saw at the time, and I never did manage to find it in stores, though it would be a game I'd love to try out at some point. But I think that's why Chib-Robo Plug into Adventure deserves a HD remake. I mean, they've tried to sort of continue this series' existence with games that don't match its original roots, and I feel that there'd be a much higher chance of this game and this series, this IP, succeeding if they were to go to its roots and finally sort of manage to get into people's hands and talk about it more. You know, finally promote it a bit more. Okay, I'll be trying my tea out in a second, but I'll first say about my fourth GameCube game that deserves a remaster, HD remaster, and at number 4th one is Eternal Darkness: Sanity's Requiem. Now, I haven't actually played Eternal Darkness. My younger brother, Rafi, has. But from what I know of Eternal Darkness, it's an IP that a lot of people have been wanting a sort of follow-up to, and it's an IP that generally gathers quite a bit of talk. Nintendo keep renewing its, the obtaining of its name. You know, they keep sort of renewing that they have the rights to the name of Eternal Darkness and the game. So I feel they should try and do something with it. A HD remaster on the Wii U would be great. I've heard some people say before that there's some, while it's somewhat impressive still to this day, there are some little texture issues that could be fixed up. There are some glitching issues that could be fixed up. And with the Wii U gamepad, you could even think of further ways to provide horror and the sanity situation. I remember the Eternal Darkness is a game wherein, as your sanity is stressed, you get various things happen with the game itself. Like, for instance, it will suddenly say that your memory card has wiped out all of its data as it was corrupted or something. Or the game sort of like glitches out on you on purpose based on your sanity meter. And I think you could manage to do even more of that with the Wii U gamepad, like suddenly black out the screen on the TV so you have to only look at the Wii U gamepad if your sanity's got too high. Or, make it so you suddenly have to control via the gyroscope. There's lots of ways you could implement unique ideas into it without worrying about trying to make a new entry out of it. And as, the name still is held to this day, I think that Eternal Darkness: Sanity's Requiem would be a perfect game to have as a HD remaster. It would also be a good way to show off some of Nintendo's more older rated games. Nintendo don't have many of those, or at least many which would fit that sort of style, but Eternal Darkness: Sanity's Requiem is certainly one of them. And it'd be nice to see him make use of that IP. Now then, a bit unusual, but I did wait a while before I decided this episode before making my tea. I'm going to try out my Clipper organic white tea with milk. That's pretty good. That went down a bit oddly. It tasted pretty nice at first, like English breakfast, but now there's a bit of a strange taste on my tongue. I'm not 100% sure what I think about this tea. It's got a bit of a soapy taste to it, but it's like a poorer version of English breakfast. Like sometimes you get a really shoddy English breakfast, and this tastes like a somewhat shoddy English breakfast. I mean, it's okay because it tastes like an English breakfast, but it's just not as good as, some of the better qualities of English breakfast. I quite like, I believe it's PG, and I really like the Yorkshire English breakfast teas. Not a fan of Tetley for some reason. Never was a big fan of Tetley, but now that I've tried the tea, moving back onto the GameCube games deserving of HD. Now, okay, this third one, I might have a bit of a bias towards. The third game I'm recommending here is Puzzle League Collection. As some of you may know, I am a huge fan of Panel D Pon, particularly Lip. She was my most wanted character for Super Smash Bros. I've made a whole video in tribute to Panel D Pon's 20th anniversary last year. I am still very bitter that Intelligent Systems hasn't made a new Panel D Pon game and they keep making Pushmo games, or Pullbox games, or whatever you want to call them. You know, despite already having a puzzle character they could have used. Her name is Lip. She's fantastic. In any case, Puzzle League Collection was a Japan-only GameCube game, though originally I've heard that it was intended for a North American and European release, or worldwide release, as it was being listed and talked about and shown off at E3. But the game is made of 3 parts, sort of sequel to Panel D Pon, featuring Lips and her various fairy friends' descendants, a Dr. Mario game, and I believe a Yoshi's Cookie sequel? But these 3 parts make up Puzzle League Collection, as a puzzle game with, it has some story, but not huge amounts of it. It should be an easy enough game to translate. It's a puzzle game, so what the sort of obvious things is that you could use the Wii U gamepad as a touchscreen mechanic, so you could control the game via the touchscreen, which is a nice way to work out those sort of puzzle games. And overall, I just think it'd be a nice game, you know, whilst it's not like the most demanding of game, it'd be nice to see finally get a worldwide release. The Wii U gamepad can be used to, you know, great uses, which I'm surprised there haven't been more puzzle games sort of thrown up on the Wii U to take advantage of that touchscreen. I mean, the DS had them. Where's my Henry Hatchworth 2, EA? Come on, where's the Henry Hatchworth 2? But Puzzle League Collection, I think, would be a great game to see, and of course, you know, I'd love it to absolute bits. And you know, it's a very beautiful game from what I've seen of it back then. And, you know, the HD remaster probably will only give it a small pop, but it's a small pop I'd love to see. A small sort of shine on the graphics. It's mostly for actually wanting this game to actually be out worldwide, though. That's the primary reason it's on the list. I absolutely love the Puzzle League and Panel D Pon series. So then, number 2. Odama. Okay, most of you probably have not heard of this game. Odama is a pinball real-time strategy military war game. I did not make any of that up. That is pretty much how you defined it. And it's controlled via the GameCube's left and right bumpers on the GameCube controller. And the GameCube microphone. Again, I'm not making that up. That's a game that Nintendo released. That's an IP I believe they own. Odama. Pinball real-time military strategy game controlled with a microphone and an L&R button. Now, my main reason for this is that the GameCube microphone was a separate accessory, much like the Donkey Kong bongos and such, and that means people were less willing to give it a try, I feel. You know, you're less willing to try and get a game if you suddenly need an additional feature thing for it. And that is no longer a problem with the Wii U. After all, the Wii U gamepad includes a built-in microphone. So there, with Odama, you could port the game, you know, brighten up its graphics and all, smooth out some of its control issues, and maybe add in an easy mode, because from what I've heard, Odama is insanely hard. Part of that is to do with the controls, and part of that is to do with the fact that you're trying to, well, just the natural nature of the game, you're trying to move, you know, flip a pinball, so it's not crushing your allies, hitting the opponents, and hitting the bell. In order to do your bell, you have to carry across the field to the other side of the war zone. It's, again, Odama is a very strange game. But in any case, you just need to up the sort of graphics a little bit. You know, include some control options for the L and R buttons, maybe even a touchscreen option to activate the flippers if you really want to. Make an easier mode so that people have or sort of really good tutorial so people can have an easier time getting into it. And then you got the microphone built into Wii U gamepad. You can use that for the microphone feature that was a part of the game. It's perfect. It makes perfect sense. And it's a fairly obscure IP that I think people should try out. I mean, I've always wanted to try it out, and I'd love it if I could do so via the Wii U rather than having to track down a GameCube copy of Odama. I traded my copy of Mario Party 6, but for some reason I have somewhere around here actually kept the GameCube microphone, weirdly enough. So I could actually play that if I found where I put the GameCube microphone. But I would rather play it as a HD remaster on the Wii U, but being able to use the Wii U gamepad's inbuilt microphone for its features. So then, as I mentioned, I will be going on to honourable mentions. Let me just finish off this tier. Yeah, real slight soapy twinge to it for some reason. Yeah, some honourable mentions, as many of you might expect. I did consider Super Mario Sunshine. Super Mario Sunshine would be a good fit for a Wii U HD remaster because water looks fantastic when you increase the graphic fidelity of it. Water is just a way to make things look beautiful. And if you've got good water, then, you know, that's usually a good sign. And I really love Super Mario 3D World, but it's not what people are used to in a 3D Mario game. Super Mario 3D World is a 2D Mario game finally converted into the 3D format. However, people ended up liking the likes of Super Mario 64 and Super Mario Galaxy, so Super Mario Sunshine would be a great fit. Furthermore, Super Mario Sunshine was somewhat overlooked. It was like in a similar pond to The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD. Some people, you know, didn't look on it as fondly as they probably should have, because looking back on it, it's a pretty good game. Even as someone who's not a fan of those 3D Mac games, I consider it a pretty good game. Other games include Geist, another mature IP that Nintendo owns, but still owns the rights to as far as I'm aware, and not many people have actually played of it. It's like a stealth game, I believe. Well, stealth third-person shooter where you're a ghost and you can possess people. And I believe you can also possess objects as well. And, you know, you go about possessing things. It's a pretty cool game, and it's a rare, mature Nintendo IP. Well, mature rated, I mean, you know. Of course, I think a lot of the Nintendo IPs can be pretty mature despite the lower age ratings, but as in, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Geist has that age rating to it, and it's a rare thing to see, so it helps it stand out. The other game I considered my honourable mentions, you know, didn't make it into the top 6, but, you know, was Chib-Robo for the GameCube. Almost primarily because we never got it in Europe, so I'd actually like to see that get a HD remaster so it can get a worldwide release, so that I could actually finally get to play it. Also, it's a series that's been dormant for a while, so it'd be nice to see it come back, and, you know, that'd be pretty cool. So then, moving on to number 1. The GameCube game I believe deserves to be remade or remastered in HD most of all. It's one that many will have on their similar list to this, if they've made lists like this. That game is, of course, FZero GX for the Nintendo GameCube. It's once again a game I have never played. However, it's a game that I can see why people would want it on the Wii U. After all, it's been a long time since there's been an F-Zero game. It's often considered very highly. And a lot of people I've heard in regards to F-Zero fans, when people like Miyamoto have said they're trying to think of new ideas for the series, have just said they want a HD online F-Zero. Well, remastering FZero GX would give them a HD online F-Zero. And there are some additional features you could think of to help improve this game. One of these ideas is FZero AX was an arcade version of FZero GX with additional characters that came out in Japan. I believe that could be incorporated into FZero GX. You could make a bundle if you want. FZero GX/AX HD. That's a weird title. Maybe just call it FZero HDX. That'd be nice. Other ideas that could be implemented in it, well, the Wii U gamepad is perfect for a track builder, and I believe in previous F-Zero games they have had those before. Might be a bit of an effort to include that, but another idea they could include is possibly an easier mode. Like, a big difficulty with F-Zero is that it's a very hard game, so include an easier mode to allow people to slowly learn and adapt, like a handicap, which, as you get better, it lessens what the handicap is until you're good enough to play through the stages. And so it teaches people to get good at F-Zero. Get good with F-Zero. And that's the game, I think. Well, there's also the fact that I also think F-Zero GX looks beautiful, and it look even better in HD. So there's a lot of reasons that F-Zero GX, I believe, is the GameCube game that deserves to be HD remastered most of all, but Honestly, I'd like to see all 6 of the games I mentioned in my top 6 have HD remasters. Particularly with some of them which never actually came out worldwide. It'd be nice to see with these re-releases, or if they were to be re-released in HD, for them to actually get worldwide releases. That'd be wonderful, really. And yeah, this is tea time has ended up going on for a long time. I'm so glad I'm able to record longer than 15-minute videos now. But that was my GameCube games deserving of HD video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed my opinions of which Cube games I feel should be remastered in HD. Each of them I feel are more deserving of Twilight Princess, but that's happened now. You know, can't change any of that. However, I want to know what you think about this. Feel free to share your thoughts on which GameCube games you think should be made in HD. Do you think it was right that Twilight Princess, out of all those games I mentioned, is the game that ended up getting a HD remaster on Wii U? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Until next time though, thank you for watching and cheerio!